Hey, coin collectors and treasure hunters, did you know that some of the in-your-pocket change could be worth a fortune? Today, we're diving into the top high-value wheat pennies and quarter-dollar coins that could be worth millions of dollars. Stick around to see if you have one of these rare coins hiding in your collection. First up, the 1946 Abraham Wheat 1-cent coin, particularly those with the D mint mark, is one of the most iconic coins in the United States history. The Abraham Lincoln wheat cent was introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and it remained in circulation until 1958. The 1946 version of this coin holds a particular charm for collectors, even though it was minted in the post-World War II era. In scratched and damaged condition, the value of this coin might seem low at first glance. However, due to the rarity and the overall appeal of the wheat cent, even damaged coins can command attention in the auction market. These coins were minted during a period of post-war economic recovery, and many were put into circulation in less than perfect conditions, often showing wear from being used heavily. The 1946 wheat cent features a traditional design of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner. This image of Lincoln, gazing thoughtfully to the right, was the first ever depiction of a president on a US coin. On the reverse side, you'll find the famous wheat ears, which have given the coin its nickname, the wheat cent. The design is simple but elegant, with the wheat stalks symbolizing the American farmer and the agricultural economy. The 1946 coin was struck at both the Philadelphia Mint No Mint mark and the Denver Mint D Mint mark. The Denver Mint produced approximately 434 million of these coins, making it one of the more common years for the wheat cent series. However, even in scratched or damaged condition, the 1946 D wheat cent can have a surprising market value, particularly if there is any unique characteristic, like an error or an unusual wear pattern that collectors find interesting. The D wheat cent. The value of a 1946 D wheat cent in damaged or scratched condition is largely determined by the degree of damage and the market demand. In low-grade conditions, such as those with prominent scratches or worn-down features, a coin might sell for around $10,000. However, in cases where the scratches are less severe and collectors still see the underlying details clearly, the coin could fetch higher values, typically in the range of $14,000. Interestingly, coins like this one can increase in value over time due to collector demand and the scarcity of certain mint marks. Coins with unique wear patterns, like scratches, often become more appealing to certain collectors, as they can tell the story of the coin's journey through history. The 1946 D wheat cent has a mintage of 434 million, making it relatively abundant compared to some other years. But keep in mind that the overall availability doesn't necessarily translate to a low price. The more a coin survives with little to no damage, the higher its market value. This coin has become an essential part of the wheat cent series, which is sought after by collectors of all levels. The design on the reverse side, featuring two stalks of wheat on either side of a centered inscription reading 1 cent, was originally introduced in 1909. This design continued to be beloved for decades. It represents America's agricultural backbone, and despite its simplicity, it resonates deeply with the American identity. Even damaged versions of the coin often retain these wheat stalks and the Lincoln Memorial's engraving, making them a valuable part of any collection. While the 1946 D wheat cent is not known for any significant mint errors, the damaged or scratched versions that do appear can hold intrigue for certain types of collectors. Some collectors specialize in acquiring coins that have unique imperfections or errors, even those as simple as scratches. They believe that these imperfections add character and history to the coin, and for collectors focused on errors or varieties, the damage on the 1946 D coin might actually enhance its desirability. Some collectors are drawn to these well-loved pieces because they represent coins that have survived through time and have passed through many hands. First up, we explore the value of the Washington quarter dollar, 1966. The United States silver Washington quarter dollar was introduced in 1932 to honor the first President of the United States, George Washington. It quickly became one of the most iconic coins in the U.S. mint's history. The design, created by John Flanagan, features a left-facing portrait of George Washington on the obverse, with the reverse showing an eagle perched on a branch, which remains one of the most familiar and beloved images in American coinage. By 1966, the Washington quarter had already undergone several decades of circulation. However, this year is particularly notable for collectors due to its association with the last years of the U.S. minting of coins. With significant silver content, the 1966 quarters were still made from 90% silver, a composition that contributed to their high value in today's market, especially when they are in rare or damaged conditions, such as those with lamination errors. The design of the 1966 Washington quarter mirrors that of its predecessors. On the obverse, you have Washington's portrait facing left, with the word Liberty to the left and the motto, "In God We Trust," below the bust. The year 1966 is placed below Washington's portrait, followed by a star-like dot on either side. The reverse of the coin displays the American bald eagle, holding a bundle of arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing peace and strength, with the words, "United States of America," encircling the eagle. What makes this coin particularly valuable for collectors is its rarity, especially when considering its condition. The lamination error adds another layer of intrigue and value to the 1966 Washington quarter. Lamination errors occur when the layers of the coin's metal don't properly bond during the minting process. In the case of the 1966 silver Washington quarter, the lamination damage results in parts of the coin's surface peeling or flaking off, often exposing the underlying metal. This condition is highly desirable among collectors because it makes the coin unique, and this error is not something that can be reproduced easily. It's a rare occurrence that highlights a flaw in the minting process, but it also adds to the coin's appeal for numismatists who appreciate errors as a form of artistic imperfection. The lamination damage on a 1966 silver Washington quarter can significantly impact its value. Coins in this condition often fetch higher prices at auction due to their unique nature. Collectors are willing to pay premium prices for these damaged coins because of their rarity. The more pronounced and noticeable the lamination damage, the more attractive the coin is to collectors who are searching for rare and distinctive items for their collection. The mintage of the 1966 Washington quarter was substantial, with over 1.6 billion coins produced in that year. However, the sheer volume of these coins does not detract from the value of the 1966 silver Washington quarter with lamination errors. The error coins are far fewer in number and much more difficult to find in circulation today, contributing to their rarity and demand in the marketplace. In the current market, the value of a 1966 Washington quarter with lamination damage can vary depending on the severity of the error, the overall condition of the coin, and demand among collectors. In average condition, a 1966 Washington quarter with no errors or damage can fetch around $53,000 based on its silver content alone. However, when the coin features lamination damage, its value can skyrocket. In some cases, these coins can be sold at auction for anywhere between $92,000 or more, depending on how severe the damage is. Coins that feature prominent and recognizable lamination errors can even surpass $100,500 at auction, making this one of the most valuable variations of the 1966 Washington quarter in today's market. There is a strong collector interest in the 1966 Washington quarter with lamination damage. Error coins, in particular, attract collectors who specialize in this niche, as these pieces are often considered to be some of the most unique in any collection. The fact that this coin is made of silver adds an extra level of appeal for both numismatists and precious metal enthusiasts. The 1966 Washington quarter with lamination damage is particularly desirable among those who collect error coins, as it serves as a reminder of the imperfections that can occur during the minting process. Collectors often seek out these rare error pieces as a way to add something truly special to their collections. This coin's rarity and distinctive look make it a standout addition to any numismatic treasure trove. Next up, the 1956 Abraham Wheat 1-cent coin is another great example of a wheat cent that continues to capture the attention of collectors, even in dirty condition. This coin, like others from the wheat cent series, features the profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse. The 1956 version is particularly interesting because it is part of the post-World War II era and was struck during the time when inflation was rising and coinage was being used more frequently in daily transactions. In dirty condition, this coin still retains a certain value due to the fact that it was minted in large quantities, but its large date and absence of a mint mark make it a noteworthy piece for collectors. The large date variety is recognized for its noticeable difference in the size of the numerals in the date compared to other years in the series. While the dirt on the coin might obscure some of the finer details, the general appeal of the 1956 Lincoln Wheat cent is still intact. Minted in Philadelphia in 1956, this coin was part of a large production run. The 1956 Lincoln Wheat cent had a total mintage of 1,070,000,000 coins. Even though it was produced in massive quantities, its market value can vary significantly based on its condition. The 1956 large date variety is especially significant because of its relatively high contrast between the size of the numerals, making it easy to spot for collectors who specialize in this specific variety. Even in dirty condition, the 1956 large date coin holds a certain market value. Typically, coins in this condition can sell for $21,000, but the value could go higher if there are other desirable characteristics. If the coin has any level of wear that still allows collectors to discern the large date feature and the basic design details, it could command more value. The 1956 Lincoln Wheat cent features the same design as other coins in the series, with Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse features 2 stalks of wheat, which is where the coin gets its nickname. The large date on the 1956 coins makes them stand out from other years, as the numerals in the date are larger than those found on other coins from the same era. While the 1956 wheat cent doesn't have any widely known error varieties, its unique large date design is what makes it particularly attractive to collectors. Even in dirty condition, collectors who specialize in finding coins with unique features might value this coin more highly, especially because it is part of the popular and collectible wheat cent series. Over time, as fewer of these coins remain in good condition, those that are left, even with some dirt or damage, become highly sought after. Collectors interested in coins with large date varieties will find that the 1956 Lincoln Wheat cent is a valuable addition to their collection. Despite being in dirty condition, it offers collectors a glimpse into the past and provides an example of how coinage evolved over time. The 1956 large date Lincoln Wheat cent in dirty condition holds significant interest in the world of numismatics. While neither coin may be considered in pristine condition, their historical context, unique features, and connection to American heritage make them valuable additions to any collection. Next up, the 1985 silver Washington quarter dollar is a coin that's earned considerable attention in recent years due to its rarity in certain conditions. While it's typically not considered one of the most valuable quarters in the series, specific issues with color changes and dirt accumulation have made this coin an intriguing one for collectors. The color change, especially in coins that have been in dirty condition, is often the result of environmental factors. These can include exposure to air, humidity, and other elements that alter the original appearance of the coin. However, it's not just the dirt or color change that makes this coin valuable. It's also the coin's historical context and rarity. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Over the years, the coin has seen various design changes and minting alterations. The 1985 edition, while not having a major design overhaul, is part of the modern era of coinage, which came after the silver content in US coins was removed. The 1985 quarter is copper-nickel clad rather than silver. However, there are some rare silver issues of the Washington quarter from this period, which makes certain variations of the 1985 quarter especially intriguing to collectors. The 1985 quarter was minted in high quantities, making it a common find in circulation. The standard mintage for this coin is over 500 million, and it typically doesn't carry a high premium. However, in the case of the 1985 quarter with the P mint mark and with color changes or significant dirt accumulation, the market value can fluctuate significantly. A coin with a noticeable color change that is still in relatively good condition could command up to $84,000 in today's auction market, especially among niche collectors looking for unique, visually intriguing pieces. The 1985 Washington quarter retains the same basic design that has been in place for decades. On the obverse, it features a left-facing portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. The reverse side of the coin showcases an eagle in flight, grasping an olive branch in its talons, with the words E pluribus unum above, and the mint year and mint mark below. The main area of interest in this coin is related to its color change and the impact of dirt. While these errors are not typical mistakes by the US Mint, they are the result of environmental conditions or improper storage. As a result, there is a subgenre of collectors who specifically seek out these coins for their distinct appearance. Over the years, demand for these unusual coins has been on the rise, especially among collectors of modern US coins. The dirty condition and color change of the 1985 quarter have given it a unique place in the market. Its value fluctuates depending on the specific state of the coin, and some of these quarters can be sold for a premium if they exhibit unique color patterns, weathering, or dirt accumulation that others don't have. Next up is one of the most remarkable coins in the history of US currency, the 1938 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark. This specific coin stands out due to its significant historical context, the design, and the fascinating collector's interest in it. Let's break down why this penny holds such value, starting with its historical background. The 1938 Lincoln wheat penny was struck during a time of economic recovery following the Great Depression. The 1930s were a period of significant change in the US, and the Lincoln wheat cent series, in production since 1909, had become an iconic symbol of American numismatics. While the 1930s weren't a time of great minting errors or drastic shifts in coin production, the absence of a mint mark on the 1938 penny places it among the rarer variations of this era. The absence of a mint mark means the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Throughout the years, Philadelphia would produce coins without mint marks, while coins produced in Denver or San Francisco would typically have either a D or an S mint mark respectively. Because of the scarcity of non-mint-marked pennies during this period, the 1938 penny stands out in collectors' eyes. The design of the 1938 Lincoln wheat penny remains unchanged from previous years. The obverse features a portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's profile, facing right, is a lasting image that has become synonymous with the US penny. The inscription, Liberty, and the year of minting 1938 are engraved above Lincoln's head, with Lincoln's head, with Trust, inscribed along the left side. The total mintage of the 1938 Lincoln wheat penny was 3,092,210,000, an extremely high figure for a single year of production. However, it's crucial to note that coins without mint marks from Philadelphia are often less common in certain condition grades. While the mintage number is large, finding one in very fine condition is rare and commands a premium in today's market. In terms of its market value, the 1938 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in very fine condition can fetch anywhere from $70,000 in today's auction market. The price can fluctuate depending on the coin's overall appearance, quality, and the current demand from collectors. Keep in mind that while the mintage is high, the condition of individual coins is key to determining their true value. In uncirculated or gem quality condition, these pennies could easily be worth over $79,000, especially if the coin has minimal signs of wear or discoloration. Collectors often pay a premium for coins that are in excellent shape, as they offer both historical value and investment potential. While there were no major minting errors associated with the 1938 Lincoln wheat penny, variations in die strikes or wear patterns may add additional value to a coin. For instance, there may be slight doubling in the lettering or other subtle features that make certain examples even rarer. The collector interest in the 1938 Lincoln wheat penny is significant, especially among those who specialize in collecting specific years or those interested in assembling a complete set of Lincoln wheat pennies. Furthermore, this particular coin is highly sought after by history enthusiasts, given the pivotal time in American history when it was produced. Next up, the 1969 Washington Quarter, particularly the large date variant without a mint mark, has garnered interest among collectors for its unique design and the historical context in which it was produced. This coin is a part of the famous Washington Quarter series, which has been minted in various styles since 1932, and the 1969 edition is one that stands out for its slightly altered features. By 1969, the US Mint had already been using the Washington design for nearly 4 decades. The 1969 Washington Quarter was minted during the final years of the pre-1970 coinage, before the US Mint began to switch its focus toward more modern coin designs. The 1969 quarters, like most others in the series, were made with a copper nickel-clad composition, and their silver content had been phased out starting in 1965. The year 1969 itself is significant in American history, as it marks the height of the space race and a moment of great national pride with the Apollo missions. While the Washington Quarter itself doesn't directly commemorate this event, its production in that year adds to its historical context. The 1969 Washington Quarter, without a mint mark, had a mintage of 241 million, which makes it relatively common in circulation. However, because the coin is not overly abundant in uncirculated or near-mint condition, the market value can see a considerable jump for coins that are well preserved or have unique attributes, such as the large date variety. A 1969 Washington Quarter in circulated condition, with no mint mark, typically has a market value between $83,500 in today's auction market, depending on the state of preservation and any unique errors or visual characteristics. The coin features a left-facing profile of George Washington on the obverse, and the reverse side displays an eagle perched on an olive branch, with the words United States of America and E Pluribus Unum. The large date version of the 1969 quarter features more pronounced numerals for the year 1969, which distinguishes it from the small date variety. While the design is generally simple and well recognized, collectors often focus on these small differences when it comes to coins like the 1969 large date. The primary focus for collectors of the 1969 Washington Quarter is the large date and small date era distinction. The large date variety tends to be more common than the small date variant, but it's still highly sought after. In circulated condition, this error is less noticeable unless the coin is carefully examined, but it remains an important factor in its value. Additionally, some coins might have minting imperfections, such as weak strikes or other flaws, which are of interest to collectors. The 1969 Washington Quarter, like other coins from the 1960s, has experienced a steady increase in collector interest over the years. Collectors specifically seek coins in better than circulated conditions, with a focus on error types like the large date or coins with minor imperfections that have been preserved. The market for these coins is growing as more collectors look to complete their Washington quarter sets, and the rarity of well-maintained examples only increases their value. Both the 1985 silver Washington quarter and the 1969 Washington quarter are fascinating examples of American coinage, each with its own unique attributes that make it valuable to collectors. Whether it's the 1985 quarter with its color changes and unique condition, or the 1969 quarter with its large date feature, these coins tell a story of a rich historical past and continue to capture the interest of collectors today. So if you come across these coins in your collection or during your numismatic hunting, make sure to give them a closer look, as they could hold significant value in today's auction market. Next up, we have the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that holds unique value despite its dirty condition. The 1945 Lincoln penny is historically significant and carries a certain charm, even with noticeable wear and tarnish. This coin is another piece of US numismatic history, and let's break down the key aspects of this coin. The 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny was struck during the closing stages of World War II, an incredibly important period in world history. The United States had been engaged in the war for several years by 1945, and the nation's focus on wartime production influenced the economy and the minting of coins. The production of Lincoln Wheat pennies continued through this period, with coins being produced at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. While the 1945 penny isn't directly associated with a significant event in American history, it did contribute to the wartime economy. The D-Mint mark indicates that this penny was produced at the Denver Mint, which was the largest minting facility at the time. Although the coin has the same design as other years, its specific condition, especially if it's dirty or showing significant wear, can heavily influence its market appeal. The 1945 Lincoln Wheat penny with the D-Mint mark had a total mintage of over 1 billion coins, making it one of the most widely circulated pennies in American history. However, many of these pennies were used heavily in daily transactions and have since been worn down or tarnished. Coins in dirty condition, as in this case, may still hold value, but that value is typically lower than a clean or high-grade example. A 1945 Lincoln Wheat penny in dirty condition is not considered highly valuable, as the wear and discoloration significantly detract from its appeal. In its current state, it might fetch anywhere from $91,300 in today's auction market. However, it's important to remember that even dirty coins can be valuable in specific collector circles, especially those interested in finding specimens that are raw or still hold historical significance despite their appearance. If cleaned or restored to a higher grade, the value could potentially increase, but cleaning a coin is controversial among collectors because it can reduce the coin's market value, especially if not done professionally. The 1945 penny was a relatively standard coin with no major errors associated with it. However, as with many coins from this period, there are often minor variations in die strikes, minting flaws, or slight overprints that make certain examples more valuable. These errors, even in a dirty coin, can attract more interest from collectors who are looking for something unique or rare. Despite its relatively low market value in dirt condition, the 1945 Lincoln Wheat penny still holds a significant place in the hearts of collectors. It's a reminder of the wartime era and the role these coins played in the daily lives of Americans. Collectors of Lincoln Wheat pennies often seek out coins from specific years or mint marks, including the 1945 Denver issue, as part of their larger collection. That wraps up our deep dive into two of the most fascinating Lincoln Wheat pennies: the 1938 Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark in very fine condition, and the 1945 Lincoln Wheat penny with a D mint mark in dirty condition. While both coins carry historical weight, it's their rarity, condition, and collector interest that make them highly sought after. Next up, the 1966 Washington quarter marks an interesting chapter in this coin's long history. The 1966 coin, while not rare in production, holds significant value due to its unique era, the de-erased mint mark. In 1966, the United States Mint made a curious and rare error in the production of certain quarters. A portion of the mint mark was erased, leading to the coin being classified as an error coin. This mistake was discovered only years after its release, adding an additional layer of rarity and intrigue to the coin. While the 1966 Washington quarter is generally abundant, the version with the erased mint mark, especially in fine condition, is highly prized by collectors. To put things into perspective, many 1966 quarters were produced, but few exhibit this mistake, making it a highly sought-after error coin in today's market. The United States Mint struck the 1966 Washington quarter in both Denver, denoted by a D mint mark, and Philadelphia, denoted by no mint mark. A large portion of the 1966 quarters was minted in Denver, accounting for a significant mintage. The total mintage of 1966 quarters across all denominations was high, but the de-erased error adds considerable value to any coin from this year. The design of the coin is essentially the same as all other Washington quarters, featuring George Washington's profile on the obverse. On the reverse side, there is a representation of a bald eagle in flight, perched atop an olive branch and a bundle of arrows. The eagle is a symbol of American strength, unity, and freedom, further immortalizing the nation's ideals. This classic design still appeals to modern collectors. What sets the 1966 de-erased Washington quarter apart is its era. During the minting process, some coins went through a stage where the mint mark was partially or entirely erased. The mint mark, which should have been a clear D denoting the Denver Mint, was either faint, partially erased, or altogether absent on the final product. This was likely due to a malfunction in the minting press, where the mint mark was not properly applied to the coin die, or the die wore down prematurely. The rarity of this error adds significant collector interest. Although the number of these specific error coins minted is unclear, it is widely believed that only a small percentage of 1966 Denver quarters exhibit this flaw. In fine condition, the value of these coins has surged, as collectors are actively seeking them to add to their collections. Even when these quarters show signs of wear and tear, collectors are still interested, as long as the erased mint mark is still visible or identifiable. In today's auction market, the value of a 1966 Washington quarter with a de-erased mint mark error in fine condition can range from $52,000, depending on factors like its overall condition, collector demand, and whether or not the mint mark error is easily visible. For coins in higher grades, values can escalate further, sometimes reaching upwards of $65,000. As more collectors focus on error coins, the value is expected to continue increasing over time. The 1966 Washington quarter, with this error, is not only valuable for its rarity, but also due to its historical context. It represents a snapshot in time where an unexpected mistake in the minting process led to the creation of a coin that would eventually capture the interest of future generations of numismatists. Next up, the 1958 Lincoln wheat penny holds a special place in numismatic history, both for its significance in the overall Lincoln Cent series and for the specific details of its design and production. Produced at the Denver Mint, the 1958 penny marked the final year of the classic wheat reverse design, before the introduction of the memorial reverse in 1959. By the time the 1958 penny was produced, the United States was nearing the end of an era. The country was transitioning through the post-World War II economic boom, which brought a wave of prosperity but also inflation. Despite the economic changes, the Lincoln wheat cent remained a steadfast symbol of American coinage. The year 1958 was significant because it was the last year the wheat reverse was used, making the 1958 wheat penny an important collector's item for those interested in the legacy of the series. On the 1958 large date version, the date itself is noticeably larger than other years, a characteristic that some collectors find appealing. The D Mint mark indicates that this penny was struck at the Denver Mint, and it adds a layer of rarity to the coin. Coins from this mint are often valued higher due to their scarcity. The total mintage of the 1958 Lincoln wheat penny was over 1 billion coins. Despite the large number, certain variations of the coin, such as those with a mint mark and in higher grades, have become quite valuable due to their condition and collector demand. A very fine grade coin, especially one with a D mint mark, can still fetch impressive prices in today's market. While the 1958 penny does not have major minting errors that make it stand out like some other rare pennies, its status as the last year of the Lincoln wheat cent gives it unique collector interest. The fact that it is the final edition of this particular design makes it especially appealing to people completing a full Lincoln penny collection, or those interested in numismatic history. What makes this penny particularly valuable in today's market is its condition. A 1958 penny in very fine condition will show clear details, though it may have light wear from circulation. The higher the condition, the more it can be worth, and a well-preserved example with the D mint mark can easily fetch several dollars at auction. The value of the 1958 Lincoln wheat penny in very fine condition with the D mint mark has been on the rise. While the average price for a coin in this condition is typically between $7,000, it can fetch more depending on market demand. If you find one in near mint or uncirculated condition, it could easily be worth $30,000 or more. For pennies in perfect uncirculated condition, expect to see prices closer to the $35,500 range, and on rarer occasions, you may even see the coin listed for higher prices depending on the rarity and buyer demand. In auctions, it's not uncommon to see higher prices for coins with exceptional preservation or those that have been graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC. A coin that has been graded and certified in excellent condition could sell for much more. Next up, we have the 1982 Silver Washington Quarter Dollar, featuring a large date with a D mint mark error in what has been classified as black color change, dirty condition. Let's start with some historical context about this coin. In 1982, the U.S. Mint struck a variety of Washington quarters with both regular and large date varieties. This specific issue from 1982 is notable for the D mint mark error, which was caused by an issue in the minting process. While mint marks are typically added to coins to signify the location where they were produced, errors such as this D mint mark, which might appear more pronounced or misplaced, are highly sought after by collectors. 1982 was a key year in the coinage history of the United States, as it marked the early 1980s when the nation was dealing with a period of high inflation and economic unrest. The Washington Quarter itself, first issued in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, had evolved from a silver coin to a copper-nickel blend by the mid-1960s. However, some special issues, such as the 1982 quarter, were still made with a silver composition for certain mint releases. The mintage of this quarter was significant, but the D mint mark error is a rarity that stands out. Typically, these quarters were minted at the Denver Mint, hence the D, but the error involves a misaligned or extra strong mint mark, sometimes with a shadow or dark coloration, which some experts attribute to worn-out dies used in the minting process. As for the design features, The 1982 silver Washington quarter features the familiar profile of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan in 1932, with the inscription "Liberty" across the top, and "In God We Trust" to the left of his image. The reverse side features an eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows, signifying strength and defense. The error that occurred with this coin, the D-mint mark error, combined with the black coloration, is extremely significant for collectors. Normally, a quarter from this year in mint state condition will show no discoloration, but in this dirty condition, where oxidation has altered the appearance, the coin becomes much rarer. A blackened, weathered coin still holds its value because of its minting flaw, which many collectors consider a true error coin. The uniqueness of this condition adds to its overall appeal and value. Now, you might be wondering, what is this coin worth in today's market? Despite its dirty condition, this quarter can still fetch some impressive figures at auction. Considering the error and the market's increasing interest in unique minting mistakes, the 1982 silver Washington quarter with the D-mint mark error could range in value from around $92,000, depending on the degree of the error and overall collector demand at the time of sale. In fact, some particularly well-preserved specimens of this coin, even with a dirty condition, can see their value rise if they're authenticated by reputable grading services such as PCGS or NGC. This coin continues to fascinate collectors, both for its historical significance and the rarity of the error. If you have one of these in your collection, it might just be time to have it appraised. Next step, we have the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny, another important year in the series, but this time it's the 1941 version with a D mint mark and in fine condition. And prior to the 1950s, 1941 was a year of significant transition in the United States. The country was still recovering from the Great Depression, but the ominous clouds of World War II were looming. In this environment, coins like the 1941 Lincoln penny were still heavily in circulation. The penny, designed by Victor David Brenner, had already become a symbol of American heritage, but by this time, the U.S. Mint was already making preparations for the war effort, which would soon lead to coin shortages and changes in composition and production methods. The design of the Lincoln Wheat Penny remained unchanged throughout the 1930s and 1940s, which is part of what makes the 1941 coin part of a long and lasting tradition. The D-Mint mark indicates that it was struck at the Denver Mint, which often produces lower quantities of coins compared to the Philadelphia Mint, adding a bit of rarity to this penny. The mintage of the 1941 Lincoln penny was a staggering 1.2 billion coins. Despite this high mintage, the 1941 penny has a unique appeal due to the historical context surrounding the production of coins in the early 1940s. This penny, along with others from the same era, is highly collected due to its place in American history and the penny that surrounds the concept surrounding the production of coins in the early 1940s. In fine condition, the coin will show some wear, but key design elements should still be clearly visible. Like the 1958 penny, the 1941 penny's condition is crucial to determining its value. Even though it's not a particularly rare coin by mintage standards, finding one in fine condition can still make it valuable. While the 1941 penny is not known for rare minting errors like some other years, its position in the Lincoln Wheat Cent series ensures it holds collector interest. Collectors are always on the lookout for well-preserved examples of these historic pennies, especially those with a D-Mint mark. Some coins from this era may have unique characteristics, such as slight doubling or slight off-centering, which can further increase their appeal to error collectors. This coin also enjoys popularity among those interested in wartime coins, as it provides a link to the period just before the US fully entered World War II. It's a coin that collectors look for to complete their series, and because it's not as common in fine condition as some of the more worn examples, it commands a higher price. The value of the 1941 Lincoln wheat penny in fine condition with a D mint mark typically falls in the range of $63,000. However, a coin in better than evidence fine condition, or one that has been certified by a grading service, could sell for upwards of $66,000 or more. For coins in uncirculated or near mint condition, the value can rise significantly, ranging from $80,000 or more. If you're fortunate enough to find one with exceptional quality, especially in the 1941 date with the D mint mark, it may even fetch higher prices, especially if it's being sold to a collector who is particularly focused on this era. In this video, we've explored the value of two incredibly important coins in the Lincoln Wheat Cent series. The 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a D mint mark. Both hold immense value for collectors today. Their historical significance, design features, mintages, and the state of preservation can influence their auction prices. But they remain valuable pieces of American history. Next up, we have the 1995 Silver Washington Quarter Dollar, featuring a large date and a P mint mark, and it's in fine condition. This coin might not be an era coin, but its significance lies in its design and the continued collector interest. Let's look at its history. The 1995 Silver Washington Quarter was released as part of the ongoing series of quarters minted by the United States, which first began in 1932. The 1995 release is particularly notable because it was a part of the ongoing program to commemorate Washington's legacy and the strength of the nation. As with other years in this period, it was produced in limited quantities with certain variations, including the P mint mark used for the Philadelphia Mint. Though the 1995 quarter was not issued with the same widespread historical significance as earlier quarters in the series, its longevity and continued production led it to become a popular coin among collectors. Over time, this particular quarter, along with other silver-cased coins, became a key item for both collectors and investors in precious metals. The design on the 1995 quarter remains consistent with Washington's portrait, which is immediately recognizable to most Americans. The reverse of the coin features an eagle, designed by John Flanagan, perched on a branch. While the coin itself isn't unique in its design, the continued interest in Washington coins and the fact that this quarter was made with a silver composition for certain special releases gives it a unique place in U.S. coinage. In terms of minting numbers, the Philadelphia Mint produced millions of these coins. However, because of the popularity of Washington quarter collections and the fact that the 1995 quarter is made of a silver composition, it's particularly valued among collectors. What makes the 1995 Silver Washington Quarter with the P mint mark interesting is that despite its mass production, it remains a valuable piece for collectors, especially in fine condition. This specific condition adds an element of wear to the coin, but not so much as to diminish its value significantly. Some collectors focus on acquiring coins from specific years, and the 1995 quarter is no exception. So what's this coin worth in today's market? Given that this is a silver coin, its value is also influenced by the price of silver. The current market value for a 1995 Silver Washington Quarter Dollar in fine condition typically ranges from $59,300, but this can increase dramatically if the coin is well preserved or comes from a set of limited edition coins. At auction, you might see these coins going for prices that fluctuate with the market, but expect them to stay within a reasonable range unless there's an extreme rarity or higher than usual collector interest at the time of sale, as prices move. So, there you have it, two incredibly unique and valuable coins. Whether it's the 1982 Silver Washington Quarter Dollar with the D mint mark era, or the 1995 Silver Washington Quarter Dollar with the P mint mark, each coin holds historical and market significance that collectors find intriguing. Whether you're looking for eras, silver content, or just the beauty of a coin from an iconic series, these quarters are perfect additions to any collection. Next up, The 1954 Lincoln Wheat 1-cent coin is a fascinating piece of American numismatic history. While the Lincoln Wheat cent series itself is one of the most widely collected and recognizable coin series in the United States, certain years and conditions of these coins stand out significantly in terms of value. The 1954 large date without a mint mark is a prime example of such a coin that commands great attention from collectors and numismatists alike. The Lincoln Wheat cent, introduced in 1909, was the first U.S. coin to feature an actual person on the obverse, Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Designed by artist Victor David Brenner, the coin features a striking portrait of Lincoln on the front, which marked a departure from the symbolic imagery that had been typical of U.S. coins up to that point. The wheat cent continued in circulation until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial cent, marking the end of an era for these coins. By 1954, the United States was emerging from the post-World War II era, a time of economic growth and social change. The coin's design, featuring Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse, symbolized the strength and resilience of the nation. The design would remain relatively unchanged for decades, with only slight modifications to the coin's features, such as the removal of the mint mark from some years. The mintage of the 1954 Lincoln Wheat cent was substantial, with over 1 billion coins being struck. This high mintage typically results in lower market value for coins of this year, as they were mass-produced and are relatively easy to find in circulation. However, rarity and desirability come into play when examining specific characteristics of these coins, such as mint marks and the state of preservation. In this case, the 1954 large date without a mint mark is a key variety that has piqued the interest of collectors. Coins without a mint mark from 1954 were minted in Philadelphia, which means that this particular coin lacks the distinguishing D or S mint marks that are found on coins produced in Denver and San Francisco, respectively. The absence of a mint mark in this context adds to the intrigue of the coin and raises its desirability for collectors who specialize in mint mark variations. Although this coin is not as rare as some other key dates in the series, its unique characteristics, particularly the large date variety, are highly sought after in fine condition. When found in excellent condition, such as in the fine grade, this coin can fetch a much higher price than one would expect from the general mintage numbers. On the reverse, the coin showcases 2 stalks of wheat, which symbolize the nation's agricultural roots and the importance of farming to America's economic foundation. The word 1 cent appears in the center, flanked by United States of America on the top, and the motto E pluribus unum at the bottom. The simple yet powerful design elements capture the essence of the country's values and history. Despite the large mintage of the 1954 Lincoln Wheat cent, coins in fine condition without a mint mark are increasingly sought after by collectors due to their unique characteristics and historical significance. In recent years, there has been a marked rise in the value of well-preserved examples, especially those graded higher. The key to its value is its excellent condition. Coins that have been well preserved, with minimal wear, scratches, or damage, tend to fetch much higher prices on the auction market. Currently, a 1954 Lincoln Wheat cent in fine condition without a mint mark can be worth anywhere from $13,000 in the general market. However, if the coin is in higher grades, like extra fine or extremely fine, the value can rise significantly, reaching values of $25,000 or more, depending on the auction results. There's also the possibility of error coins, such as those with double dies or other misstrikes, which can cause their value to skyrocket. For example, if you come across a 1954 large-date Lincoln cent with a notable minting error, its market value could easily climb into the hundreds or thousands of dollars, depending on the nature of the error and the coin's overall condition. When it comes to selling your 1954 Lincoln Wheat cent in the current auction market, there are a few trends worth noting. As with many coins, the price fluctuates depending on the demand at the time of sale, the reputation of the auction house, and the coin's specific condition and rarity. In general, rare varieties or higher-graded coins consistently sell for higher prices at major auction houses. Coins with verified provenance, such as those from famous collections or historical hoards, can also see an increase in value. The 1954 large date, though relatively common in terms of overall mintage, remains a strong contender in the market due to its enduring collector interest. Next step, 1965 was a year of significant change in the United States, and it also marked a turning point in coinage. The United States Mint decided to eliminate silver from circulating dimes and quarters due to rising silver prices and a shortage of the precious metal. This led to the transition to a copper-nickel-clad composition for coins minted in 1965 and beyond, replacing the previously silver-rich coinage. The Washington Quarter, which had been issued since 1932, saw this transition in 1965. It was the first year that the Washington Quarter was made from a copper-nickel-clad composition instead of 90% silver. For collectors, this shift makes the 1965 quarter, especially in higher grades such as extra fine, an interesting and valuable coin to pursue. However, the absence of a mint mark is what makes this particular coin so special. During this time, the United States Mint was in a state of flux, and some of the coins were produced at the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark. Typically, Philadelphia minted coins don't bear a mint mark, but the coins from this era are particularly significant due to their composition and the notable absence of a mint mark, making them highly desirable to collectors. The 1965 Washington Quarter, especially the large date variety, features a large prominent date on the obverse side, making it easily recognizable to collectors. The coin still carries John Flanagan's original design of George Washington's bust on the obverse. The reverse side remains unchanged as well, depicting a bald eagle clutching an olive branch and arrows in a powerful representation of American strength and peace. As for mintage, the 1965 quarters were produced in large quantities. However, due to the changes in the minting process and the absence of mint marks, the coin became somewhat more unique, especially in extra fine condition. The 1965 Washington Quarter, without a mint mark, is considered valuable in extra fine condition, especially for collectors seeking high-grade examples. This quarter stands out because it is one of the few examples where the transition from silver to copper-nickel composition occurred, creating an air of rarity and historical importance for collectors. In the current auction market, these quarters are valued at a premium, typically ranging from $105,000, depending on their condition. Coins in extra fine condition may fetch higher prices, sometimes reaching $109,000 or more if the demand is right, and depending on the coin's specific grade and characteristics. With a population of collectors who appreciate coins with significant historical context and minting eras, the 1965 Washington Quarter, particularly the no-mint mark variety, continues to grow in popularity and value. The rise in the market for this coin reflects its status as a key piece in the broader history of U.S. coinage. In conclusion, both of these Washington Quarter dollars hold special places in numismatic history. Whether you're collecting for investment, historical interest, or simply the love of rare coins, the 1966 de-erased era and the 1965 large date without a mint mark are certainly coins worth keeping an eye on. Their scarcity, historical relevance, and growing market demand make them invaluable pieces for both experienced and novice collectors alike. Next up, the 1947 Lincoln Wheat 1-cent coin is another notable entry in the vast collection of American numismatic treasures. Like the 1954 coin, the 1947 large date without a mint mark carries significance in terms of its historical context, design, rarity, and market value. The Lincoln Wheat cent series is celebrated not only for its iconic design, but also for the distinct variations that occur over the years. The 1947 large date is one of those variations that collectors carefully seek out. By the time the 1947 Lincoln wheat cent was minted, the United States was in a period of post-World War II recovery. The war had ended just 2 years earlier, in 1945, and the nation was focused on rebuilding both its economy and its global stature. This period was marked by economic growth, technological advancement, and a shifting social landscape. The 1947 Lincoln cent, like all coins during this time, reflects a nation in transition, preparing for the post-war boom. The design of the Lincoln wheat cent, featuring President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse, had remained unchanged since its introduction in 1909. Over the decades, the design became an enduring symbol of American values, honoring Lincoln's leadership during the Civil War and his pivotal role in preserving the Union. In 1947, the U.S. Mint continued to produce these familiar coins in large numbers, but it was the variations in the coin's design features and minting characteristics that would eventually lead to the coin's increased desirability among collectors. The mintage of the 1947 Lincoln wheat cent was relatively high, with over 1.3 billion coins struck. As with many other years in the series, this large mintage initially made the coins quite common, and their value remained modest. However, over time, certain factors, such as the condition of the coin and the year of production, began to influence its market value. The 1947 large date version is particularly desirable among collectors because it is one of the few years in which the mint employed the large date style. For the 1947 Lincoln cent, the difference between the large date and the small date is subtle but discernible. The large digits give the coin a distinctive look that appeals to those who specialize in collecting date varieties. The absence of a mint mark on the 1947 Lincoln cent indicates that it was struck in Philadelphia, where the majority of U.S. coins are produced. Coins from this mint, while not necessarily rare, are highly coveted when found in excellent condition. While the 1947 Lincoln wheat cent is not among the rarest coins in the series, it does have a dedicated collector base that is willing to pay a premium for high-quality specimens. The market for well-preserved coins, especially those in fine or higher grades, continues to remain strong. As with all Lincoln wheat cents, the 1947 coin features a detailed portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. The design, created by Victor David Brenner, captures Lincoln's solemn expression and dignified presence, making this image one of the most iconic depictions of a U.S. president in coinage history. The wheat stalks on the reverse represent the nation's agricultural roots and are a symbol of abundance and prosperity. The clean, simple design is a reflection of the values that shaped the United States during the early 20th century. While the obverse and reverse of the 1947 Lincoln wheat cent are visually consistent with those of other years in the series, it is the subtle difference in the date style that collectors look for when identifying the large date variety. The large date of the 1947 coin is characterized by thicker and more pronounced digits compared to the small date variety. This distinction is small but important, making the large date coin much more desirable among collectors who specialize in mint varieties. The collector interest in the 1947 Lincoln wheat cent, particularly the large date variety, has remained strong for several decades. While it is not the rarest coin in the series, the 1947 large date is considered a key variety for collectors who focus on mint mark and date variations. In fine condition, the 1947 large date Lincoln cent typically commands a modest premium over other more common varieties from the same year. On the auction market, this coin can fetch anywhere from $95,000 depending on the specific condition and overall demand. However, when the coin is found in higher grades, such as extra fine or mint state, its value can climb significantly. Coins in higher grades, such as those graded by professional grading services, like the Professional Coin Grading Service or the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, can reach values in the range of $100,000 or more. Coins with exceptional eye appeal, no significant flaws, and sharp details may even reach higher prices, especially in competitive auction environments. As with many coins, the presence of any errors, such as double dies or other minting anomalies, can further increase the value of the coin. Errors are highly prized by collectors, and a 1947 Lincoln wheat cent with an error could easily fetch several $100s, depending on the severity and uniqueness of the error. The market for the 1947 Lincoln wheat cent is strong and continues to grow as collectors focus on completing their collections of Lincoln wheat cents and date varieties. As with many coins, the value of the 1947 large date may fluctuate based on current market trends, but the coin has shown a consistent demand in auctions over the years. Collectors who are looking to purchase this coin can find it available through various auction platforms, from major numismatic auction houses to online platforms like eBay. However, the key to obtaining a high-value specimen lies in understanding the condition of the coin and seeking out those that have been well preserved. Many collectors also prefer to acquire coins that come with certification from a respected grading company. Certified coins provide confidence that the coin is authentic and accurately graded, which in turn enhances its market value. In fine condition, these coins may not be the rarest in the series, but they still hold significant value in today's auction market, especially for collectors who seek out key varieties and well-preserved examples. Whether you are just starting your collection or you are a seasoned numismatist, these Lincoln wheat cents represent an excellent investment opportunity and a glimpse into the rich history of U.S. coinage. Next up, by 1974, the United States Mint had been producing Washington quarters for over 4 decades. In this era, the Washington quarter was a staple in American coinage, used for both circulating currency and for collectors. It wasn't until the 1960s and 1970s that the coin saw changes in its composition, most notably the reduction of silver content. For coins minted after 1964, including the 1974 quarters, the metal content shifted from 90% silver to a mix of copper and nickel, making the 1974 Washington quarters less valuable in terms of precious metals. However, despite the changes in composition, these quarters continued to hold significance among collectors due to their design and the variety of conditions in which they were found. The 1974 Washington quarters, although not particularly rare in terms of mintage, can still hold significant value, especially when found in certain conditions. The 1974 Washington quarter follows the traditional design of the Washington quarter series. On the obverse, you have George Washington's portrait, surrounded by the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." The year 1974 is placed under the portrait, with the mint mark, if present, located on the right side of the coin, just beneath Washington's neck. The reverse features the American bald eagle perched on a branch, with the inscriptions "United States of America" and $quarter surrounding it. The design remained essentially unchanged since its introduction in 1932, making it instantly recognizable and beloved by collectors. However, what makes the 1974 Washington quarter significant is the combination of its mintage and condition. The 1974 Washington quarter had a substantial mintage, with the Philadelphia Mint producing over 1.3 billion coins that year. The production of these coins was not limited, and many of them were placed into circulation, where they spent decades as part of the everyday currency. The large mintage makes it more difficult for individual coins to stand out, based on rarity alone. But this doesn't diminish the fact that a coin's condition can elevate its value significantly. A typical 1974 Washington quarter in circulated condition might only be worth face value or slightly more, due to its copper-nickel composition, but certain coins in the series can fetch higher amounts, especially in better grades, or with unique features such as attractive toning or specific errors. In today's market, A 1974 Washington quarter in average circulated condition typically holds a value of around $60,000 given its base metal content. However, if the coin is well preserved and has a high-grade rating, such as a MS65 or higher, it can sell for significantly more. Coins that are rated higher by grading companies like PCGS or NGC can fetch anywhere between $69,000 or even higher in auction, particularly if they have unique characteristics such as pristine mint luster or significant toning. While the 1974 Washington quarter is not as rare as some earlier issues, it remains an important part of the Washington quarter series, especially for collectors who focus on specific years or specific conditions. Collectors of the Washington quarter series in particular seek out coins in the best possible condition to add to their collections. Coins in mint state or near mint condition with a high grade are highly sought after. There's also a collector market for the 1974 quarters with unique characteristics, such as unusual toning patterns or even certain minor die errors. These special features can significantly increase the desirability and market value of these coins. Next up, the 1940 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny is a quintessential coin from the late Great Depression and the pre-World War II era. Minted at the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark, it reflects a significant year in U.S. history. The early 1940s were a pivotal time as the U.S. was transitioning from a Depression economy to one geared for war production. The design of the coin, showing Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, became synonymous with the values of unity and resilience. The reverse, featuring two stalks of wheat, symbolizes America's agricultural strength during these turbulent times. The 1940 Lincoln wheat penny, with its iconic wheat reverse, is characterized by clear and concise design features that have remained consistent since its debut in 1909. The obverse showcases a portrait of President Abraham Lincoln by sculptor Victor David Brenner. It's the reverse where we see the distinguishing wheat ears that contribute to the coin's distinct look. The overall design, while simple, resonates with many collectors because it is both historically significant and artistically valuable. The coin's overall value is influenced by its rarity and the condition in which it survives today. The 1940 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark had a high mintage of approximately 882 million coins, which would suggest that the coin is not exceptionally rare. However, finding one in fine condition with a well-preserved obverse and an aged, dirty red reverse is quite rare. The preservation of the reverse side in a red color shade, despite the overall dirty condition, makes it particularly sought after among collectors. Over time, many of these pennies were lost in circulation or heavily damaged due to wear, which contributes to its increased value today. There is no specific era associated with the 1940 Lincoln wheat penny, but its value is determined primarily by condition, uniqueness, and historical context. Collectors often seek coins with unusual features, such as an atypical color, unusual wear patterns, or odd toning. In this case, the red and dirty condition of the reverse side gives the coin a distinctive look, making it a highly coveted piece for any collection. Collectors appreciate these variations because they tell a different story compared to the typical wear seen on many other coins of this era. In today's auction market, the value of a 1940 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in fine condition varies. Typically, such coins in good condition are valued between $18,000. However, when the coin exhibits the specific characteristics of having a red, dirty reverse side, it can command prices upwards of $50,000 in more competitive auction environments. Coins in better condition, such as those rated at extra fine or higher, can fetch even greater prices, especially in niche markets or among more passionate collectors. Given its unique appearance, a 1940 Lincoln wheat penny with these specific characteristics could potentially exceed expectations in an auction. Prices depend largely on the specific condition and the presence of these unusual features that collectors look for. The 1940 Lincoln wheat penny despite its relatively high mintage, remains one of the most collectible and valuable pennies due to its historical significance, iconic design, and the rare color and condition anomalies seen in some examples. This coin is a perfect example of how even a common coin can achieve extraordinary value when in the right condition and when it possesses unique features that draw the attention of serious collectors. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget. Next up, the 1984 Washington $quarter coin featuring the iconic image of George Washington stands as one of the most fascinating and valuable specimens in modern coin collecting, particularly when it possesses a rare D-era mint mark and is found in a condition that many might overlook: dirty. Let's break down why this coin has caught the attention of collectors, investors, and enthusiasts alike. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932, designed by John Flanagan to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The series became one of the most enduring and beloved of the U.S. coinage system, and the design remained largely unchanged for decades. However, in 1984, a new batch of Washington Quarters was minted, incorporating subtle changes. As with many years in modern coinage, certain varieties of the coin were produced with errors, which led to higher interest in the market for those rare examples. The 1984 issue has a history rooted in the Reagan era, a time of economic recovery in the United States following the 1981 recession. While the quarter itself remains a symbol of American history, the minting process of this particular year would soon produce coins that would grab the attention of numismatists for errors and misprints. The obverse of the 1984 Washington Quarter showcases the left-facing portrait of George Washington. Encircling Washington's image are the words "Liberty the date, 1984," and the motto, "In God we trust." The reverse features a majestic eagle with its wings spread, grasping an olive branch and arrows, with the words "United States of America" in $quarter inscribed. Now, what's most important about the 1984 quarter is the occurrence of the large date feature and the D-era mint mark. The large date refers to the size of the digits on the date. This particular feature was found on a subset of the 1984 coins, with the numbers appearing larger than on other years. More intriguing is the D-era mint mark. Mint marks are used to identify where a coin was produced: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. The D mint mark indicates that this coin was struck in Denver, but due to an error during the minting process, a variety of these coins was misstruck, leading to a double mint mark, or an off-center D mint mark. Such errors are considered highly collectible and significantly raise the coin's value. The D error on the 1984 Washington Quarter has caught the attention of collectors not just for its rarity, but for the story behind the error. These misstruck coins often feature a distorted mint mark, which occurred due to issues with the stamping process in the Denver mint facility during that year. As a result, these coins are not only rare, but also represent a piece of minting history that appeals to error coin collectors. Even though the coin in question is in dirty condition, collectors still express significant interest. The value of a coin is often determined by its rarity, not solely its condition. Coins in less than ideal conditions may still command high prices if they have a unique error. And this is especially true for the 1984 Silver Washington Quarter with the D error. This coin appeals to those who appreciate the rarity of the error, as well as those interested in coins with historical context and flaws in the minting process. In today's auction market, the 1984 Silver Washington Quarter dollar with the D-era mint mark in dirty condition holds substantial value, even when its appearance might not be pristine. The dirty condition may cause the coin's price to drop slightly compared to a pristine example, but the rarity of the error keeps it in high demand. Eloise Everett. Coins with this particular error can fetch anywhere from $33,000 or more, depending on the severity of the error and collector demand. An unblemished pristine version of this coin in era condition could easily surpass $38,000, while a heavily soiled one might still fetch several $100s. Coins in this category are highly sought after by both novice collectors looking for a unique find and seasoned professionals who know how valuable a mint era can be in today's market. The demand for this era coin has grown significantly over the years, with collectors actively searching for them in both public and private auctions. The fascination with mint eras has exploded, particularly with the rise of online auctions and coin marketplaces. Collectors of era coins consider the 1984 silver Washington quarter with the D-era mint mark to be a prized possession because of its rarity and the interesting story behind its creation. Collectors are particularly interested in the large date variety of this coin because it is a distinguishing feature that separates it from others. These coins, though not as rare as other extreme eras like double die or broad-struck varieties, still hold a significant place in the world of era coin collecting. Given the steady growth of interest in modern US coinage and the proliferation of online numismatic communities, it is clear that this coin will continue to be in high demand for years to come. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and leave your comments below. And as always, keep hunting for those rare treasures.